the rain becomes a deadly virus, and it's wiping out all of humanity. Simone is a straight-A student from Denmark. She's running a bit late for her upcoming exam but still manages to prep answers for herself and her friends to help them all score top marks. One of her classmates flirts with her and even asks her out on a date. It seems like today might just be her lucky day, until her father suddenly appears at the university, grabs her arm, and demands she leave with him immediately. He warns of incoming rain and urges everyone to find shelter as soon as possible. Confused by the panic, Simone asks what's going on, but her father, Frederick, says little. Her younger brother Rasmus and their mother are already waiting in the car, urging Simone to hurry so they can leave the city. On the phone with colleagues, Frederick discusses a toxic rainstorm heading for Scandinavia, something far deadlier than anyone could imagine. As he speeds through traffic, dodging cars and racing ahead of the looming storm clouds, Simone struggles to understand her parents' panic over what seems like just a regular downpour. But then she hears the emergency broadcasts. People are collapsing and suffocating en masse. Rasmus, acting like a typical fussy kid, refuses to put on his seatbelt, which leads to a distraction. When the parents try to settle him down, Frederick momentarily loses control of the car. They narrowly avoid a crash, but a flipped truck blocks the road ahead, and the storm clouds are gaining fast. Realizing there's no time, Frederick tells the kids to run after him. As the first drops begin to fall, the family reaches a hidden bunker entrance deep in the woods. Inside, the bunker feels more like a secret military base than a storm shelter. Simone and Rasmus are overwhelmed and confused. Without giving much explanation, Frederick suits up in a hazmat suit, entrusting the children to their mother. He insists he's the only one who knows what's really happening, and how to stop it. Before leaving, he asks Simone to protect Rasmus at all costs and to make sure no one ever finds him. Rasmus is the key to everything, he says cryptically. She begs him not to go, and he promises he'll return, someday. Simone tries calling her friends but only sees terrifying live broadcasts of panicked people describing strange and deadly events. Clinging to her father's last words, she tries to comfort Rasmus. Suddenly, they hear banging on the bunker door. Their mother warns them not to open it, but the children hope it's their father. The moment the door opens, a rain-soaked, infected person lunges at Rasmus. Their mother sacrifices herself to save them, shoving the intruder away but getting caught in the rain. She begins to choke, begging them to lock the door before she dies. Simone obeys, and realizes she's now alone in caring for her little brother. Though she puts on a brave face, Simone is shaken. After putting Rasmus to bed, she breaks down in tears. She finds solace in the storage room with the protective suits, imagining one of them as her father, trying to speak to him to feel less alone. Her thoughts drift back to before the outbreak. Months earlier, Rasmus had been gravely ill and beyond help. Their father, a scientist working for a private company called Apollon, had created a virus that miraculously cured him. Back in the present, Simone and Rasmus find a control tablet listing the coordinates of other bunkers scattered across the peninsula. Determined to reach out to other survivors, they use the bunker's communication tools and manage to contact Philip, another teenager locked inside a different shelter. His parents are also gone, and he has no idea what's happening outside. One night, Simone wakes to find Rasmus out of bed. He claims he saw their father, something Simone knows is impossible. Later, Philip contacts them again and says there's a hospital nearby that had been turned into a quarantine zone. Believing her father might be there, Simone prepares for a dangerous journey. She tells Rasmus she's thinking of leaving, but he begs her not to go. He's already lost their parents, he doesn't want to lose her too. That night, Simone sneaks out in a hazmat suit. Every step through the forest is filled with dread. The memory of her mother's death triggers a panic attack. Overwhelmed but determined, Simone promises the image of her father that she'll do everything to protect Rasmus. She decides to turn the bunker into a real home. The power supply has gone out, and the radio is dead, but a generator gives them just enough electricity to survive. Simone learns how to maintain the system and even tries to grow food, unsuccessfully. She cheers up her brother with dancing, but life in isolation grows harder by the day. 5 years later, Rasmus has lost all hope that their father will return. He believes he's dead and wants to leave the bunker, but Simone is still too afraid. Finally, willing to do anything for her brother, Simone waits for him to fall asleep and sneaks outside again. The rain is gone. The world is silent, full of wild animals but no sign of people. She follows signs to the hospital Philip mentioned, but it's in ruins. Inside, she finds only human remains, no survivors. After a close encounter with a wolf, Simone runs back and returns at dawn. She tells Rasmus the truth, and offers one option: to head for the next bunker listed in the system, which supposedly has supplies and a working generator. They agree to leave in the morning, but that night, something goes wrong. The oxygen shuts off. Rasmus wakes to find Simone gasping for air. In desperation, he opens the bunker door, and the two of them escape, only to realize it was a trap. Someone had deliberately cut the life support to force them out. As they stumble into the open, they're suddenly surrounded by armed strangers with unknown intentions. Simone and Rasmus are forced back into the bunker and locked in a room. It turns out that the 5 armed intruders are actually a group of survivors led by a man named Martin. Along with Patrick, Jean, Lee, and Beatrice, Martin lured the bunker's residents out with one goal: to break in and scavenge for supplies. Starving and desperate, they search the place but find it nearly empty. Still, they're stunned by the bunker's condition. It's more than just a shelter. It's a well-designed system built to protect against contamination. Rasmus begins to panic, convinced they'll be either killed or left to die in the locked room. Determined to stop that from happening, Simone looks for a way to communicate with the group. Beatrice is the most responsive, speaking to Simone through the reinforced glass and introducing herself while explaining their mission. After grabbing whatever they can, Martin orders the group to leave the bunker, planning to abandon Simone and Rasmus. But Simone cuts the power and lights up the window with her tablet. As Martin approaches, she shows him a map of the peninsula, pointing out other bunkers that might still have supplies. Then she destroys the tablet and claims the coordinates are memorized, making her essential. Reluctantly, Martin agrees to let them go, forcing the siblings to act as guides to the next shelter. Simone leads the group but soon realizes they're lost. Martin catches on and threatens to kill her and her brother if they don't find the bunker by midnight. The toxic rain still falls every night, and without shelter, they won't survive. While searching, they spot two armed men. Martin quickly orders everyone to hide under a cover that masks their heat signatures. The gunmen turn out to be hunters who track survivors using thermal vision and other tech. They find a woman hiding in the woods and begin the chase. Simone begs Martin to help her save the woman. Beatrice backs her up, arguing that it's only two hunters and they can take them. Martin reluctantly agrees and kills the men. But when they reach the woman, they discover her feet are soaked. She's infected. Without hesitation, Martin executes her. To him, she's already lost. Simone is horrified by his coldness, but there's a reason behind it. Years ago, Martin was a soldier guarding the quarantine zone. One day, he saw a woman carrying a baby. He was supposed to shoot her but couldn't bring himself to kill a defenseless mother. When he returned to his camp, everyone was dead, except one soldier, Pierre. Pierre told him the woman had been infected and killed them all. Later, Pierre himself died after touching the baby. Haunted by his failure, Martin abandoned his post and formed the survivor group, vowing never to show mercy again. Now, with the rain about to start, the group takes shelter in an abandoned kindergarten. They seal off the space to keep the water out. Lee grows weaker from hunger and the lack of medicine. Martin reminds Simone that if they don't find a proper bunker soon, someone will die. Meanwhile, Jean helps Rasmus find shoes, taking them from a corpse. Patrick remains suspicious of Simone and Rasmus, doubting they could have survived in a bunker for 6 years. While checking Rasmus's backpack, Patrick finds some drawings. One shows a mysterious figure in the bunker. Rasmus swears he saw someone else that night, but Patrick dismisses him as delusional. That night, Rasmus secretly follows Martin and Beatrice and discovers they're lovers. Hurt, he distances himself from Beatrice the next morning, refusing to talk to her. Distracted, he accidentally steps in a puddle. Martin prepares to shoot him before the infection can spread, but Simone shields her brother with her body. She begs Beatrice to check his feet and confirm he's dry. Fortunately, he is, and the group moves on. Soon, they reach another bunker. Simone scans her palm to open it, revealing a stockpile of food and supplies. The group is relieved. While exploring, Simone finds her father's phone and realizes he had been there. She checks the messages and finds a video from his boss, ordering him to report to Sweden. This gives Simone and Rasmus hope. If their scientist father is still alive and in Sweden, maybe he's working on a cure for the toxic rain. A little later, Simone shows Martin the recording and suggests they go to Sweden to search for her father. She believes he's still alive and continuing his work to find a cure for the virus. Martin is skeptical, saying that if there really were a way to stop the outbreak, the world would already be in better shape. He's reluctant to leave the safety and supplies of the bunker but gives Simone directions on how to get to the neighboring country. He warns her to avoid people, insisting they're dangerous, but Simone thinks he's exaggerating and believes things aren't that bad out there. Soon after, Simone and Rasmus set off. Once they reach a city, they hide inside an overturned bus to stay out of sight. When Lee and Beatrice find out the siblings have left, they decide to follow them. They believe in Simone and Rasmus, seeing them as their only hope for survival. Lee, Beatrice, and Jean soon catch up, and the group continues their journey together. Martin and Patrick hesitate at first but eventually decide to go after them and try to reunite with the group. Along the way, the group finds a small cafe and decides to take a break, pretending for a moment that life is still normal. Lee and Jean head out so Jean can look for new glasses, promising to return before the rain starts. But moments later, a group of starving people shows up at the cafe. Desperate and aggressive, they act like wild animals with no compassion. Beatrice, Rasmus, and Simone are forced to flee. In the chaos, Simone gets separated and ends up alone. While hiding, Simone spots a young boy left exposed to the toxic rain. She helps him reach shelter in a ruined church. The boy is weak and sick, so Simone gives him her food. His father is stunned by her kindness and urges her to leave the city as soon as possible, warning that the people here are more like beasts than humans. As the father and son leave, others spot their food and attack them. Simone watches in horror as they're killed and feels responsible for what happened. Meanwhile, Martin and Patrick enter the city and take refuge in a bus to wait out the rain. While fiddling with a mysterious device they took from a pair of bounty hunters, Patrick accidentally activates a map. It reveals they're in a quarantine zone surrounded by a tall wall, and beyond that wall, there might be a world free of the virus. Beatrice and Rasmus take shelter in the house where Beatrice grew up. She opens up about her past, saying her parents were planning to divorce but ended up dying together in the apocalypse, never leaving the home. Rasmus comforts her and admits he likes her. Soon, Rasmus, Beatrice, Simone, Lee, and Jean reunite, but they're attacked by a starving man with a knife. When he learns they're heading to a bunker with food, he grabs Rasmus and threatens to kill him. Martin and Patrick arrive just in time, trying to fend off the attacker. In the struggle, Rasmus is stabbed in the stomach before the man runs off. The group of 7 manages to stop the bleeding and quickly heads to another bunker. But when they get there, the door is broken and there's no food. Despite that, they decide to stay and tend to Rasmus's wounds. Beatrice cares for him and recalls how it all began. When the poisonous rain first started, she was alone. Later, she met Lee and Jean. When Martin and Patrick wanted to kill them, Beatrice became Martin's lover so he would protect them and let them stay. Back in the present, Martin shows Simone the newly discovered quarantine map and suggests they head for the wall. Maybe, just maybe, they can escape this nightmare and return to normal life. While out on an external patrol, Leah and Jean spot a vehicle carrying hunters who are tracking survivors nearby. To continue their journey, the group needs to cross the only guarded bridge, but it's way too risky. Meanwhile, Rasmus's condition keeps worsening from his stomach wound, and they need to move quickly to find a doctor in the next town. Beatrice does her best to support Rasmus during this tough time, but Martin notices and starts feeling jealous. Pulling her aside for a private talk away from the others, Martin asks Beatrice if she'd go on a proper date with him once they get out of the quarantine zone. A bit later, Martin suggests waiting until nightfall so they can cross the bridge unnoticed. But Rasmus is in bad shape and time's running out, so Simone comes up with a new, but more dangerous, plan. She decides to go to the bridge alone to draw attention and start a chase. Soon, a drone with thermal imaging spots her, following her to a ruined building. Minutes later, 3 armed hunters arrive in an armored SUV. They're heavily armed and extremely dangerous, but it turns out to be a trap. Simone purposely lured them there because the rest of the group was hiding nearby, waiting to confront them. Martin shoots down the drone, and the others capture the 3 hunters to interrogate them about what's beyond the quarantine zone. Simone leads the interrogation, but it's no use. The hunters stay silent, convinced their execution is inevitable. Then Jean notices a tattoo on one of the men's arms, which triggers memories from his past. Right after the first rain, he tried to hide and ended up in a rural village, where he met a little deaf girl and her parents who took him in during his darkest hours. Jean lived happily with them until bounty hunters found them. At that time, no one knew about the hunters, and the family head went out to meet them. Unaware of the danger, the 3 hunters shot the man and kidnapped his wife. The girl tried to scream, so Jean had to cover her mouth, but accidentally suffocated her. This caused a deep psychological trauma, and Jean now wants revenge on the criminals who destroyed his family. Martin promises to execute the 3 and urges everyone to get back to the car quickly to avoid running into other patrols. Soon the group reaches the neighboring town. Using the thermal drone, they scan the area and spot someone hiding nearby, an armed woman they've been searching for. She works as a doctor and helps Rasmus stitch up his wound, sharing that she lost 2 children to the viral rain. Simone reveals that her father, the scientist Frederick, could develop a cure. The woman offers to move to a safer location to give Rasmus an injection and leads the siblings to a bunker. It turns out she also worked for the corporation and has access to the shelter, while the old buildings serve as a cover from the bounty hunter patrols. After asking Rasmus to sit down, the woman ties him up and attacks Simone to immobilize her. She reveals she worked in the same department as their father and blames him for everything. Frederick created the virus that spiraled out of control, causing millions of deaths across the Scandinavian peninsula. She wants revenge and plans to film the execution of his children. Meanwhile, the others decide to split up. Leah and Beatrice scout the surrounding area, while Patrick, Martin, and Jean try to rob the doctor and find food. Moments later, they spot several armed bounty hunters who have discovered them. The worst part, Martin didn't kill the 3 criminals earlier. Seeing the tattoo on one of the men's arms, Jean loses control. Fueled by rage, he grabs a rifle and steps outside to face the enemy head-on. Martin could have killed the rest but lets the opportunity pass, and as a result, Jean is captured and taken away. Martin and Patrick regroup with Leah and Beatrice, and they head to the doctor's bunker. Inside, Patrick witnesses an attempt on Rasmus's life and acts quickly, killing the insane woman. Patrick is disappointed in Martin's behavior. He's no longer the leader he used to be. Meanwhile, Beatrice notices Martin's growing feelings for Simone, and it seems the feeling is mutual. The next day, the group of 6 continues their journey, but Simone can't figure out the right route. They're lost and have no idea which way to go. Meanwhile, Patrick and Leah are worried sick because Jean is being held captive by bounty hunters. The whole group is desperate. They have to stay hidden, and the rain could start any minute. Hearing noises nearby, they head toward the edge of the forest and spot an old castle where people are living. As they approach, Martin and the others meet some strange folks all dressed alike. The group is allowed inside to take shelter from the poisonous rain, but only if Patrick and Martin hand over their guns. Realizing they might not survive otherwise, they reluctantly surrender their rifles and enter the castle. Martin finds these people suspicious. They act like some kind of cult. They demand the group forget their past lives and let go of everything before this moment. They lock the bedroom door and keep a close eye on Rasmus because he's feeling ill. The next morning, Karen gives them a tour and tells them they grow fruits and vegetables there. No one trusts her at first, so she eats a tomato herself to prove it's safe. She leads the group to a shower room and asks them to change and freshen up. Martin refuses to wear their clothes and walks away, while the others remain skeptical about Karen's words. Eventually, she showers to demonstrate that their water source is safe. While the 5 friends are having fun in the showers, forgetting their troubles for a moment, Martin explores the place. Sneaking into a storage room, he finds children's shoes, but he hasn't seen any kids in the castle, which seems odd. When he brings it up, they insist children do live there, but he just hasn't seen them yet. Leah tells Karen they'll have to leave soon to keep moving, but Karen asks them to stay one more day because there's a monthly celebration tomorrow. Rasmus's condition worsens, and the doctor agrees to check him out. At one point, he suggests giving Rasmus an injection, but Simone forbids it because the doctor's syringe is branded with the Apollo Corporation logo, meaning he used to work for them. Later, she tries to get answers, but the community leader warns her not to ask about the dark past or the causes of the apocalypse. Noticing that Leah is religious, Karen asks her to talk and confess. Leah opens up about her life before the first poisonous rain. She came from a devout family with strict control. Dreaming of going to a college party, she practically ran away from home, promising her mother she'd behave. But so-called friends played a cruel prank, slipping illegal drugs into her drink. As a result, she lost control and spent the night with 3 guys. The next morning, she saw the video of it and called her mother, but her mother rejected her and cut off the phone. Turning to faith, Leah prayed for God to punish those responsible, and then the poisonous rain began, killing everyone outside. Seeing her tormentors die, Leah felt guilty, even though it wasn't her fault. Martin's suspicions grow that this place isn't as safe as it seems. Going down to the basement, he sees cooks working with saws but isn't allowed into the kitchen. Meeting up with Simone, he realizes she shares his doubts. This cult is definitely hiding something. They return to the basement to check the kitchen again, but everything is spotless, and the cooks seem to have vanished into thin air. Meanwhile, Rasmus flirts with Beatrice, and Simone is showing more and more interest in Martin. But now isn't the time for feelings. Something strange is going on. Martin tries a tomato, nothing happens, but his doubts keep growing, so he heads back to the basement. As everyone gathers for the monthly celebration dinner, Martin finds drops of blood on the floor. Checking the fridge, he discovers human remains. He realizes the cult is made up of cannibals who eat each other, and any lost survivors they catch. Soon, everyone finds out. The doctor and cult leader use weapons to hold them hostage. Rasmus, Simone, Leah, Beatrice, and Patrick have all tasted human flesh, and now they must draw envelopes to decide their fate. One envelope contains a flower, symbolizing passing on to the afterlife. In other words, that person becomes the next meal for the coming month. The draw falls on Leah, but Karen sacrifices herself, offering to be the next victim so Leah can live and leave. The group leaves the castle and learns that the Apollo Corporation is behind everything, and that the local doctor, who's Rasmus and Simone's father, led the experiments. Realizing the doctor hasn't forgotten the past, the cult leader kicks him out. Doomed, the man shows Simone what was in the syringe and injects himself. The shot instantly infects him and kills him. Continuing their journey, the friends stop for the night in an abandoned house by a lake. In the morning, they check the map and realize the bounty hunters are still on their trail, and moving faster. In fact, the hunters have already reached the wall, blocking their path forward. Martin urges everyone to leave quickly, but Rasmus admits he can't move. They need to restock supplies and reach the next bunker, but he's simply not able to make it. Realizing they have no choice, the group decides to split up. Leah, Simone, Patrick, and Martin head toward the bunker, leaving Rasmus behind with Beatrice. Alone together, Rasmus confesses that he was faking his injury. It's almost healed. He deliberately tricked the others so he could spend time with Beatrice. Knowing they're just the two of them, they draw, explore nature, and genuinely enjoy each other's company. When a rainstorm hits, they take shelter but keep having fun, even dancing, unaware that the rainwater is leaking through the rotten floorboards. Suddenly, a raindrop falls on Beatrice's face, triggering her panic and anxiety. Rasmus calms her down and kisses her, promising that if the virus ever infects her, he'll die with her. Relieved, they make love and spend the night together. Meanwhile, Patrick watches Martin spending more and more time with Simone, barely noticing him. Even though they've been close for years, Martin doesn't really see Patrick as a friend or treat him the way Patrick wishes. Haunted by his past, Patrick drinks heavily, feeling unloved and betrayed by everyone. His own father gave him a car only to make sure he left for good. It was in that car, during the first rain after everything fell apart, that Patrick realized everyone around him was dead. Back to the group, the 4 friends finally find the bunker, but inside it's filled with children's drawings and toys. Simone and Leah insist they can't loot the place since a family with a child lives there. Martin and Patrick disagree, believing the supplies inside are their only hope for survival. While searching the bunker, Patrick discovers a tablet with hundreds of video recordings. It turns out the bunker belongs to a corporation employee conducting experiments on people, injecting them with poison to test their survival, though most end up dying, including children. One of the victims in the videos is Simone's father, which leads her to justify the experiments, believing they're a desperate attempt to find a cure that could save humanity's remains. The group plans to leave the bunker and head back to the house, but Rain forces them to stay put. Feeling like an outsider, Patrick gets drunk, and Simone tries to comfort him. Thinking she's the reason Martin has distanced himself from him, Patrick pushes Simone out into the rain. Moments later, he calls Martin over and begs him to execute Simone before she becomes infected and attacks them. But Martin can't bring himself to pull the trigger. Leah defends Simone and steps out into the rain with her. Martin and Patrick isolate them both. Despite being soaked, Leah and Simone show no signs of infection. Assuming the rain is no longer dangerous, Martin steps outside to confirm it himself. The group cheers, celebrates, and drinks before going to sleep. The next morning, Martin kicks Patrick out for betraying their friendship and almost sentencing Simone to death. Meanwhile, Rasmus wakes up to find that Beatrice has, in fact, died from the virus. When Patrick returns, he witnesses the scene but flees, only to be ambushed from behind, with a sack thrown over his head. A few minutes later, it turns out that Patrick has been captured by bounty hunters nearby. The squad leader, Thomas, interrogates Patrick by forcefully pulling out his teeth. Despite the pain and torture, Patrick reveals that the others are hiding in the bunker since Simone has access and her father works for the corporation. He also tells them about Rasmus and his resistance to the disease. The group realizes that Rasmus is the invincible, the person they've been searching for over the past 4 years. At the same time, it becomes clear that these bounty hunters are actually corporate squads operating within the quarantine zone. Their mission is to capture survivors for experiments because, as far as the government is concerned, all survivors are officially dead and can be used as disposable resources. The bounty hunters can't leave the quarantine zone until they find the invincible, because they have a poison capsule in their blood that activates if they try to escape or disobey orders. Rasmus brings Beatrice's body back to the bunker and desperately tries to save her. He's willing to do anything to revive her, but Martin and the others have no choice but to isolate him. Everyone is shocked by Beatrice's death, but none more so than Rasmus, who loses all will to live and wishes to die. When everyone lets their guard down, he sneaks away and contacts Thomas, promising to surrender so they will kill him. Noticing that her brother is missing, Simone sets out to find him and discovers he's been captured by the bounty hunters. After burying Beatrice, the group continues their dangerous journey with a new mission: to rescue Rasmus. Meanwhile, Thomas gives Rasmus several injections to keep him conscious so he can escape the zone. Acting cleverly, Leah screams and pretends to be a lost victim. They lure one of the bounty hunters in, capture him, and contact Thomas to propose a prisoner exchange. The squad leader ignores the offer, and his subordinate explains why. Everyone is stunned to learn that Rasmus is chosen and resistant to the disease, even though he and Beatrice were in the same situation, only she died. During the next negotiation, Simone demands a meeting. Threatening the bounty hunter with a poison injection, she forces them to return her brother in exchange for the prisoner. Rasmus comes back but decides to inject himself with the poison to spare the others from suffering. A few minutes later, he regains consciousness, confirming once and for all that he is immune to the virus. Thomas proposes a deal. He'll take them to the corporate base, where they'll conduct experiments on Rasmus to develop an antidote. In return, they'll all be freed. Rasmus, Simone, Leah, Martin, and Patrick, who's rejoined them, cautiously agree and prepare to set off. Before they leave, one of the bounty hunters kisses Rasmus on the forehead, seeing him as humanity's last hope for salvation. Moments later, the hunter dies, because while Rasmus isn't sick, he is a carrier spreading the virus. A few hours later, Thomas brings the group of survivors to the corporation's headquarters on this side of the wall. Leah, Patrick, and Martin are taken to a bunker where they're kept in a sort of middle ground, neither prisoners nor guests. Inside, they run into Jean, who's still alive, and learn that their friend is doing okay. Soon, they're asked to take some dietary supplements, but Martin is suspicious again. A woman takes one pill first to prove it's harmless, convincing the others to take theirs. Meanwhile, Rasmus and Simone meet with their father. Simone lashes out and hits Frederick, blaming him for everything going wrong in the world. He's the one who started the apocalypse and created the virus that wiped out most of humanity in Scandinavia. Frederick tells his daughter to calm down and sends Rasmus to the medical ward for a preliminary checkup, after which the doctors will begin collecting biomaterials to develop an antidote. In a private conversation with Simone, their father hints that he can't say everything because the cameras are watching. Later, a doctor tries to take a swab from Rasmus, but he bites her hand. The woman quickly starts mutating and dies painfully. That night, Frederick meets Simone again and leads her somewhere without cameras. He admits that 6 years ago he entered the bunker, and Rasmus saw him. Frederick sealed the bunker and declared everyone inside dead to protect his son. He killed the doctor who doubted his story and then slaughtered almost everyone in the quarantine zone, all to save Rasmus. The poison and antidote are hidden in bone marrow, and to get the antidote, he would have to kill his son, but he's not ready to do that. Instead, he suggests Simone and Rasmus run away, Trying to steal his son from the lab, Frederick finds the mutated doctor's corpse. After taking a swab and analyzing the DNA, he realizes Rasmus has mutated too much, and his biomaterial is no longer usable for an antidote. The cure for humanity is gone, and Rasmus is extremely dangerous, easier to kill than to save. Frederick agrees with the company's owner to use Rasmus for experiments, but Simone overhears the plan. She advises her friends to start a fire, and thanks to her, Martin, Jean, Leah, and Patrick escape from the bunker. Together, the 6 friends decide to flee the quarantine zone, but Frederick confronts them. He shoots Martin and is about to kill Rasmus, but Simone stops him. The group manages to escape, but when they try to leave the zone, Thomas catches them. He tells them that the supplements they took were actually capsules of poison. If they leave the zone, they will die. The only ones who can get out alive are Rasmus and Simone, but the siblings refuse to betray their friends. Realizing they can't escape, the 6 return to the quarantine zone, knowing the corporation will come after them. Meanwhile, the corporation's head orders Frederick's arrest and the capture of the group of 6. Rasmus is needed, not for an antidote, but for the production and sale of biological weapons. In a world shattered by chaos, what's more important, holding on to our humanity or surviving no matter the cost? At what point does a person lose the right to be called human? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment below, hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe. Catch you in the next video.